I'm on CpsboxingnewsInc over here with the Cutman Jacob. Hey, thanks for giving me the a small space of yourself, because I know you are you just came out from the fights and everything like that. What's your thoughts on this great card that eventually Top Rank put it on right now?
Yeah, it was a real good fight, man. I mean, good card. The whole night was good. The two Mexican fighters, of course, they went at it. And Dominguez and the other guy, Xander, and Bruce, Shushu. They both became stars tonight. And it's good. It was good for the people. It's good for them, and it was a good night of fights.
Hey, I mean, what can I say? From the beginning, like women's boxing, all the way to the end. And right now, one thing that got me in shock is the news that Xander just mentioned that Patrick's mother passed away, and he literally just continued, with the fight and everything like that. I asked Xander, it wasn't in your mind that your opponent would have pulled out the fight, and he says yes. And in 1 second, I thought that it was gonna happen. What's your reaction when you hear something like that? That eventually the fighter just step into the ring, knowing that our condolences for his mom and everything like that first,
Yeah, of course, man. It's sad to hear, But let's talk about Patrick. He's a gladiator. He's a warrior, and I know that in his own mind, the mind of the warrior, that he's going to demonstrate in this fight that he's going to do it for his mother. And so that's how you turn a negative into a positive, and show the heart of the warrior. And at least you can say, Mama, yo te di I give you this.
I dedicate that, yeah. I felt kind of in shock, like knowing that news, because I mean, I'm not the type of person, because if it wasn't me, I guess I pull off, and I give it, I mean, it's not gonna be an excuse, but something that
Yeah, well, it changes your mind game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And in contact sports, the mind is very important. And but it made him stronger. He didn't get knocked down. He took a lot of shots, and but yeah, maybe that's what kept him going.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's news. He took it in a way that so much professional, I can say, and continue making that fight, because other than that, I think Sanders would understand.
Yeah, but we all would have understood. Of course, it's you only have one mother, bro. And the reason you're here is because of your mother, right?
Exactly.
And yeah, it was a good night. It was a good night. All fighters, left the arena with respect. And that's all you can ask for, man. Is everybody's healthy, and they continue to fight.
Yeah, exactly. And we are in Puerto Rican, weekend that is coming, soon, the parade. But, there were, two Mexicans stepping into the ring. They put a little, seasoning on that. Yeah. What's your thoughts when you see these two warriors, Andy and, of course, Christopher, they perform, what's your thoughts on that?
It's funny, La Bala, Brian Mendoza, I've worked with him and all that, and former world champ, and I whispered to him, I said, ¿sabes qué? The Mexicans are still in the show. It was a great fight, man. It was the best fight of the night, But you expect that from them. That's what they do, They got the heart of the warrior. But good fight, Andy. I love Andy, man. He's a good kid. In fact, his coaches are coming in. And so a lot of respect.
Yes. And what can I say? We definitely, looking to see, Christopher again make the performance. I don't know if to me, it was a very competitive fight.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I would have been shocked if it was a draw, and so I would have been shocked. But you know what? And both Andy and this young man, Christopher, the ones that didn't know him now. And that's in marketing and boxing, that's an important step to take in their career. I know as my man, so we trained in Vegas together, and Christopher, first time I saw him fight, they were like two little robots fighting each other.
I noticed that Christopher, with all due respect to Andy, Christopher's face came out, like kind of clean, not too many punches, but on Andy, it's like he received, a lot of punishment.
Yeah, well, they both received a lot of punishment, but, a lot of it depends on what kind of shots they are and who's taking care of them, and, whether you're keeping eyes on him and just kind of taking care of him, But And he's a tough warrior, man. You know, they both are. A lot of respect.
We wish him for both of them the best, and we'll see what the future holds for both of them.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of funny to ask this, because now MMA fighters they doing crossover going to boxing. We have coming up soon Masvidal against Nate Diaz. What's your thoughts on it?
I'm working with Nate. So yeah, I've worked with. I know Jorge. I worked with him when I was with the UFC. Worked with both of them. But with Nate Diaz, we're both from the 209, same area code. And him and his brother Nick, when I was with the UFC, every time they fought, I'm the one that wrapped their hands and worked their cuts and all that. And this continues. So, but it bless their hearts, man, because I worked with Nate when he fought Jake Paul, and they were saying Nate made anywhere from $15 to $20 million. Oh, you don't get that in the UFC. So on this one
That's
here, I'm taking this one instead of the Shakur Stevenson fight in Newark, same day. Only because the economics are a lot better.
Yeah,
Nate takes good care.
You gotta make the right decision and good choice, and eventually you're doing something wise. And of course, we wish Nate Diaz and Masvidal the best, because I think both of them they're gonna meet in boxing. We'll see what what they're gonna bring at the table, because that's interesting to me. Coach, for the last thing, women's boxing, what's your thoughts on it? I mean, I've been asking questions like that, like what else is missing in women's boxing in order to give it more recognition, more or payday? It will be more well for them, for both of them. What's
exposure. But women fights are exciting. I think people have to understand. Maybe get a lot more TV time. And because they can fight. I've done the Invicta fights where all girls MMA, and of course I've worked a lot of the women's fights. They all throw down, man. So what do you do to improve them? That's a good question. I don't know. In boxing they're secondary. But right now they're coming up the ladder big time. Should they get paid more? Yeah, of course. Should be an equal opportunity for men and women, especially these fighters, because they're gladiators, bro. So you gotta take care of them. But they fight. You can always expect two girls to go at it, and they go at it with technique. So yeah, bless their hearts.
Amen. I mean, much love and respect to both warriors or both female fighters, because when they step into the ring, there is no study round like they're gonna be like, let me start with the first round, and once the ring bells is like action, and
it's action all the way, man. And they hit hard just like guys, and they get bruised up just like guys. And when I was in the UFC, I always ask the girls, because after the fights they're all bruised up and they're on the plane and they're with their trainer, which is a guy, and I wonder what people are saying. Man, did he beat you up? Nah, I'm a UFC fighter.
I know.
Oh, I'm a boxer. So that you gotta respect.
Of course. I'm ending soon the interview. What's the special gift, talking about bruises and injuries and all of that? What's the special gift that you use? I mean, I know, let me recognize, your job, because you do an impressive job when, the fighters get cut and all of that. What's the gift that you eventually you do?
Yeah, it's not a gift. It's just proper application. Understanding the bruising, understanding the cuts, understanding where the vessels are at, how they bleed, understanding whether he's taking aspirins. You take aspirin or something like that, and it thins out the blood. It's easier, it's harder to glue close. You ask all those questions, but then you look at the style of fighting that the fighter has. But you always, like the guys I work with, I told them, I'm gonna keep ice on you every round. I'm not gonna wait till you start swelling. I'm gonna do a lot of preventive maintenance so that you don't get to that point. So a lot of what you do with a fighter, because they're getting hit in the face constantly, you got to make sure that you maintain that. So, education.
Exactly. Any message that you would like to send the fight fans, everyone around, in the boxing field, and of course the UFC as well too?
Yeah, just continue watching and support these fighters, and these big companies that have sponsors. Put some of the money in the fighters. They'll give you some good TV time.
Exactly. And for the last, everyone that will eventually will love to contact Mr. Jacobs. What's the the email address, or you respond in social media? Can you let them know the fight
I'm
fans?
at Stich Duran. It's pretty simple, and I always try to respond to everybody back. And all that. So you were talking about education. I'll finish up with this. That I put a video together. We were talking about. I did a seminar in Mexico City. It's like 120 students and 40 on Zoom, but I can't do it all the time because I travel so much.
Exactly.
And so what I did is I put a video together called "Giving the Fighter One More Round." So I show you how to wrap hands for boxing, for MMA, how to work on swelling, the tools that you need, the medicines you use, everything that we need to know. I have it. It's only $50, bro. I didn't do it to make money. I did it so that you could look at it if you're going to be a cutman or a trainer and understand what's the proper way to take care of a fighter. And if you want to just rent a segment like wrapping hands, it's only $10. Anyway, but that's at StichDuran.com. So, even if a fan, you want to see what goes on behind the scenes, education is what that's my legacy, bro, is to make this game a lot better.
Awesome, and I'm glad that you are one of the professors that I can consider myself, that you're trying to pass in the torch, eventually you're trying to, expose, your knowledge and everything like that. And I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, with us, Mr. Jacob, the Cutman with us, New York City.